This week, as we talk about humility and descending into greatness, I want to direct your attention to 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 8 through 12. It's a wonderful little passage that highlights some vital Christian virtues. And our verse for today is 1 Peter 3, verse 8, which says, "Finally, all of you have unity of spirit, sympathy, love for one another, a tender heart, and a humble mind." How are you doing on those things? I look at this almost as a little checklist for myself. Have unity of spirit. I was talking with someone recently because in our church we have a diversity of views on certain issues and certain things and in the world and in our culture, but we are unified around Jesus Christ, and that's very important. Jesus' longest prayer was a prayer for unity among all of his followers, as diverse as they were. So I always want to be checking with myself. I want to have unity of spirit, that what unites me with other believers in our church and outside of our church is greater than anything that may divide us, as long as we are one in believing in God and Christ and his salvation. Second thing he mentions is sympathy. So often contempt, resentment, a lack of tenderness comes from simply a lack of sympathy, of thinking about what somebody else is going through or enduring. And as Christians, we are called to have sympathy, to feel with other people in their pain and in their situations. That leads to the next vital virtue, which is love for one another, the foundational Christian virtue of all. And then the last two are a tender heart. One of the things, if you think back to the story of the Exodus, the biggest criticism of Pharaoh was his hardness of heart. Jesus, with the Pharisees who criticized him for healing on the Sabbath, it says he was grieved by their hardness of heart. None of us who are followers of Christ want to have anyone think that we have a hardness of heart. We are to have a tender heart, a caring, sympathetic, loving heart. And then the final thing in our week of humility is we are to have a humble mind. In the age in which we live with social media and talk radio, there is a tremendous lack of humility, a lack of a humble mind. Arrogance, pride, condemnation of others is rampant, the exact opposite of the Christian virtues of a tender heart and a humble mind. However you may see a particular challenge or issue, other people may see it differently. And part of what we're called to be is humble enough to ask questions. Help me to understand why you think that. Help me to see why you perceive this way. Help me to learn. A tender heart, a humble mind, vital parts of descending into greatness.